Oh, really? Hello, welcome to another episode of the Knit Chat with Jen podcast. I am your host, Jen. It is a lovely Monday, November 21st, 2016. I am off for all of this week because the school district has all of the week of Thanksgiving off. If you are not from the United States, Thanksgiving is usually on a Thursday. It's kind of a controversial holiday, but most of the time it's just for family gathering and eating a lot of food. Some admin stuff before we go on. Just wanted to let you know I'm leaving my phone not on silent because I'm waiting. I still have some classes that I need to worry about for my credential. And if you are new, I am in a teaching credential program, so I'm not fully out of the woods in regards to not having to work. So I'm just waiting on my group members and waiting for them to say yay or nay. So I may have to stop so I can do some group work. Also, I have changed a little bit of how this podcast is going to be. Normally I would just say knitting, spinning, blah, blah, blah. But I decided to be cutesy. And so a lot of my segments have names. So because it's called Knit Chat with Jen, I'm going to have my knitting called Knit Chat, spinning called Spin Talk, makeup or nails, I'll be saying nail chat or makeup talk, and then my other ones, my book talk for books, and then the other segments, stash therapy, and etc., will stay the same. Here's my tea, by the way. Trying to get into the Christmas mood before Thanksgiving. Usually I wait until after Thanksgiving, but the past few years I haven't been much of the holiday spirit. Maybe because I was planning a wedding the year before, and the year before that, I forget what was happening the year before that, but I wasn't much in the Christmas mood, so I figured, okay, I'm going to start a little bit earlier. Much to my husband's dismay, because that involves Christmas music. But for today, I'm having my holiday black tea, which is a Harvey and Sons tea, and to my holiday cheer Christmas mug. So, and I am flying without show notes today. So, yay! But now that I'm done with the admin stuff and pre-blabber stuff, we are going to have some knit chat, some book chat, a little bit of stash therapy, and a good amount of etc. All right, let's get on the knit chat, shall we? Let's first show what I have finished. Obviously, yes, I finished my Golden Cardigan. It fits like a dream. Now, it has stretched out a little bit because I'm obsessed with wearing this cardigan because it fits perfectly. See the sleeves? There's no gapping hole. It's not gapping. It's not gapping. It fits perfectly. You want me to stand up? I'll stand up for you. And it ends just right here. And it covers enough of the front that it does a really nice job. And let me show you the back. That's just my Google Drive. I don't know why. So it's a great crop cardigan for when I wear dresses or skirts. It's just perfect. Right now I'm wearing a dress. My 1940s like dress. And I'm just wearing it over that, and it's the comfiest thing ever, I swear. And I love the sleeves. even though I messed up a little and I went down to a 1 instead of a 2, the sleeves fit perfectly. It's not too tight, and even when it stretches out, it's perfect. It doesn't sag. It doesn't do that. I went down to I went down to a 3 on the neckband, and I was using my signature needles that I had. This is what happened. You want to see? See? This is what happened to it. Yep. That is a broken needle. Yeah. So I'll be throwing that away. I wasn't surprised. This is what happens with with most of my signatures. Cause I'm hard. I'm a tight knitter, so I don't think I'm gonna be buying any more signature needles for the rest of my life. And didn't they stop doing the lifetime guarantee? The thing is that even if there still is a lifetime guarantee, it's still gonna break on me. And I'm not a big fan of the cord anymore, so it's okay. I have other US3s, my highest sharps, interchangeables, so we're good. We're good. So those are being thrown away. If you want a reminder, this is my Golden Cardigan. This is loosely based on the Dew Point shrug, but I made it into a cardigan rather than a shrug. Lengthen the front area, lengthen the torso, the body of the shrug, and lengthen the sleeves. And I also changed it so that I changed needle size, and I also did a 1x1 rib for the neckband. The yarn, really light. Sorry if my light, there's some clouds in the sky. So the yarn that I did was the Filatura di Crosta Zara, which is a DK weight, 100% superwash merino wool. If it would focus. Don't see my face. Well, I don't know why it's not focusing. I'm not sure why it's not focusing, but it's 100% extra fine superwash merino, DK weight, and I actually had a good amount left, so I could have gone longer, but I really wanted this to be a nice crop sweater for skirts and dresses, so it was perfect. And then I used the extra to take it to school and teach my kids how to knit, because they have been bugging me that they want to learn how to knit. The next item that I finished is my zombie bubble socks. These are my socks, and I've worn these, so that's why they look, I've worn them. I love them. And I'll be putting them back on after I podcast. Yep. Yep. Sorry, my frame. So these are the Pebble Sock pattern by Mina Phillips. And I did these in cephalopod yarns, which is no longer available. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And I did these toe up on my US 1 2.25 millimeter needle. If you want to see the pattern, if it would focus, not on my face. That's about right. But yeah, they turned out perfectly. They fit like a glove. I did a little bit over 2 inches of twisted rim, and I did basic Russian bind off and it does not flare. So I'm really happy with how it turned out. So happy. And they're so soft. The yarn, and this is how much I have left. So this will be going into my mini pile that I'll be giving out to people who want them. People who contacted me about minis, I do apologize. I'll put the package together by this week or next week. Sorry, I do apologize. As I said, I've been really busy with papers and school and lesson plans, so again, I do apologize. But these are going to be going in my mini pile to give away. And the yarn is, as I said, Cephalopod, which is no longer, she is no longer dying. And their Skinny Bugga, which is their 80-10-10, Superwash Merino, Cashmere Nylon. And their Green Darner Dragonfly, which was also discontinued. I called it my zombie socks because of the way the greens and the purples together. So those are my finished objects. So of course now, let me get some tea. So now I got to talk about what's on my needles, because of course you can't just not cast on all the things once you're done with all your projects. Right? Yeah. Let me first show you the socks. So I still have not a good amount, but a little handful of commission knits that I need to do. So even though I really want to cast on more socks for me, I do have to focus on my commission knitting so they can be out, and especially since it is the holidays and getting close to the holiday season. And probably some of them want to be Christmas gifts or holiday gifts or etc., etc., etc. And of course, it is now all tangled. Just to give you the details, this is also a Mina Phillips pattern. I am doing the not cobblestone, the driftwood. I'm doing the driftwood pattern by Mina Phillips, which is part of her Beyond Vanilla Sock Part 1. And I don't know why it's doing that, but here you go. So I did it, I'm doing it top down, did a little bit over 2 inches again of twisted rim, and then I kind of messed up around here. And I didn't read the pattern very well. And it's not light blue. I don't know why the coloring is light blue. It's a light purple. Maybe if nope. The lighting is weird. I don't know. But it's a light purple. And this is the driftwood. And I'm doing it on both sides. So you can kind of see that I messed up a little here, so it lined up. So now But I think it adds character. It's a design element, right? And it's really stretchy, so I'm not worried about it being... See, that's kind of cool, right? Yeah. So, these are being knit out of my US 1.5, which is 2.5 millimeter. In my Chow Goose, which is now being, I'll have to figure it out later, but it's all messed up. So I'm on the leg, and then once I'm on the leg, I'm actually going to try the German short row heel. Maybe. I'll see. I can't really do the fish lips kiss heel because I didn't get a foot model of the person I'm knitting it for the commission, so I'll figure it out. I don't think I have enough yarn, though. The yarn is the Regia Angora Merino. And as you can tell, well, I guess it's close right here. Purple. Light purple. And I'm putting it in my, a needle runs through it. Super Friends, Wonder Woman, Batgirl, and Supergirl sock bag because we need it. We need some lady power. So this is the tag. If you remember, I knit on this before, Angora Merino, given by the same person. So it's 65% merino wool, 25% polyamide, and 10% angora, which adds a nice softness to it. So it's really soft. So that's my sock pattern. And then you kind of saw it, but what's living in my Erin Lane bag. See, my big Erin Lane bag is I'm knitting another sweater. Yes, I am on a I'm on a sweater mojo, guys. So the minute I casted off this and was blocking it, I knew. I wound up the yarn. So I'm making a featherweight cardigan, but it does call for fingering weight, but I'm using US 3 needles because that was the biggest needle on the yarn label. This is my Malabrigo sock yarn, which I'll show later. Remember, I got it, if you guys are new or don't remember, I got this yarn when I was in Half Moon Bay for the Art and Pumpkin Festival at Fangari. It was the terracotta Malabrigo. And if you know, so this is the back. So what I did, I'm doing the featherweight cardigan pattern to a T, except I added a stitch. Pattern. And I'm using, so on the top when I was increasing for the sleeves, I was using the cuff of the Honey Badger, which is a sock pattern. And then once I separated for the sleeves, I went and I'm doing the top. I'm doing the top of the foot chart for the Honey Badger. So the eyelets are more spaced out. So if you can kind of see. Let me show you the front. So the sleeves do not have a pattern, but the front and the back has it. If you can kind of see. So this is the left front, and this is the right front. You can kind of see. And I've tried it on. The underarm stitches, I increased it, but I didn't increase it enough, so I had to increase 2 more stitches. So when I pick up the underarm stitches, I'm gonna have to remember that, because it was too tight otherwise, too tight. But it fits like a dream. I've been trying it on multiple times because I've knit the featherweight cardigan. This is my 3rd time. This is the 3rd time, and I'm determined not to screw it up this time. The first time I knit it with just the wrong yarn, just wrong. The second time I knit it and I picked the wrong bust size. It was too big. So yeah. And I decided I didn't want to knit this in a lace weight yarn. It really needs to be fingering weight, so that's why I'm using the Malabrigo. So this is the front, this is the back, and I started this I think 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I've been flying. Been watching this with my podcast and also my Gilmore Girls. It's just flying off the needles, guys. It's fabulous. I want to knit on it all the time now. So that's what's going on with my knitting. That's it. But I do have some lots of plans. So coming up the pipeline is, and if you want to see, I'm knitting. I'm not using the one that was on, I don't know why the sun keeps going in and out. But I'm actually knitting it out of this booklet, the Knit Bot Essentials by Hannah Fettig. I'm not using the online pattern that I bought. I'm using this one because this has the fingering weight. And as you can see, the picture's right there. And I don't think I'm going to do that neckline. I want the 1x1 rib again. So, and I think I'm going to do a twisted rib for the sleeves. But yeah. So, coming up the pipeline, this monstrosity is my Wilmaza lace garter in the tandoori masala, which is a beautiful orangey red, which will be perfect. It kind of deepened. It used to be more orange, but now in this light it's more red, like a Christmassy, spicy red. So I think this will be my next sweater project. And I'm thinking of the Flax Light sweater by Tin Can Knits. It's still available for free right now as part of their essential knitting, so check it out. It's basically the flax sweater but for fingering weight. Now, yes, I just said lace garn, and this is lace weight yarn, but I compared this yarn with my Malabrigo sock, and it's actually just a little bit thinner than Malabrigo. So I'm thinking this is more of a heavy lace weight. So if you can kind of see, it's thicker than a usual lace weight. There's, cobweb lace, and then there's the thinner like this. And I have 1,722 yards of this, so it's enough for a sweater. And so if I'm going to do a swatch, of course, before I start the pattern. With my other ones, I haven't done much. I haven't done swatches because I know how the yarn drapes, but with this yarn, I'm not sure, so that's why I want to swatch it to see if I go down in needle size, how it will look. Because this, on the label, it says it should be 2 to 2.5 millimeter, which is, obviously, it's 2.5 is a 1.5 to 2. That's, I think that's a 0. So 0 to 1.5, right? Because if US 1's 2.25, so 2 would be 0. Yeah. Tell me if I'm wrong. So if I do a 1.5, as I said, I'll have to swatch it. But yeah. This is next. And I've been looking in my pattern books, and I think, yeah, I'm totally going to Elizabeth Zimmerman it. So she has a couple of I want to actually read these books, because if you're still relatively new with the knitting community, Elizabeth Zimmerman is she's like the Julia Child of the knitting world. And she also writes more like a chapter book than a knitting book, so I really want to read this closely. And she has some sweater patterns that I want to try out in here. And then, of course, the knitting workshop, which has an Aran sweater Aran weight sweater that I want to knit. So, all the things in the pipeline. All the things in the pipeline. Alright. So that's it with knitting. Next is spin talk. I don't remember showing this to you. I don't think I did. I haven't finished my merino silk, so ooh. So I finished one portion of this Pigeon Roof Studios. This is in the Golden Bob in the 80/20 merino silk, 4-ounce pump. So this is what I've spun up, and it's very nice. It's perfect. So I may just keep it a single. We'll see. We will see. So that's what I've done so far. I haven't touched it since. Maybe because I've just been obsessed with my sweater. No, seriously, I have been obsessed with that sweater. Day and night, dude. Day and night. So that's as much as I've gotten. I'm hoping to get more into the braid and start. I want to keep this on this spindle and then spin up another part of the braid on this spindle to see how it does as it gets the blue stuff on there. But I'm going slow and I'm liking, so I'm going to start with this one, which is a heavier weight than the other one. But I've already separated the braid and I'm just kind of going through and just grabbing. I'm still loving the spinning. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm taking a little bit of break only because I'm obsessed with my sweater. So that's it for spin talk. That's it. I don't really have any else in the pipeline in regards to spinning. Just kind of enjoying the process, practicing, not really focused on getting a product, but really the process of the spin. And experimenting. Alright, so let's go to stash therapy. Oh, excuse me. Book talk. I said we'd have book talk, so we're going to have book talk. So today in book talk, we're going to talk about what I've been reading so far. Because, again, busy, no time to research. So I wanted to talk about what I've been reading. So I'm reading, let's show it not upside down. I've been reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Committed, which is kind of like a sequel to the Eat, Pray, Love book, which is, it reads like a memoir, not a self-help book, and I'm enjoying it immensely. I've been reading it while my husband watches TV, so as you can see, I'm halfway through. She touches on it to me. So it reads like an ethnography in regards to marriage. It also reads, it has a little bit of a history of how marriage came about, different religions, that sort of thing, and different cultures, how they handle marriage. But it also goes into her life and her deciding to get married to Felipe, who was the man that she fell in love with in Eat, Pray, Love. I actually don't really care about her story. I'm actually more interested in the history and the ethnography of marriage, and just it's more interesting to me than the actual story, because I already know they got married and all is right in the world. So to me, that that so-called drama is not as relevant. So, but the book is still good for me because it does delve into that. Just, it talks about marriage in a very nice, open way. So, yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, do. It's enjoyable, it's informative, it's educational. And that's it I think I've talked about this. How I'm reading books nowadays is I go in between nonfiction and fiction. So I was reading The End of Alice by A.M. Holmes, but it just wasn't that good. I like finishing books, but after a month of being almost there to finish, it's like, I'm not going to pick it up. I'm not going to torture myself. Life is too short. It was just the writing for the content that it was handling, i.e. pedophilia, it was too precious. The language was too precious and annoying. It was just not good. I didn't like it at all. I don't think I'll be reading any more A.M. Holmes. No offense to A.M. Holmes. Maybe her memoirs are better, but her fiction are just not my style. Just not my style. After Elizabeth Gilbert, I am thinking of finally reading the J.K. Rowling adult book, The Casual Vacancy. We will see what in the mood I am in. So, that's it for book talk. Next is now stash therapy. There's not much to show, honestly. It's just my Highland Handmaids. Isn't this gorgeous? I kept it in the bag only because, or tied around it, is this progress keeper. If you can see. Which is of a tree. Isn't that gorgeous? This is my first progress keeper, guys. Yeah, I've never had a progress keeper before. So this is nice. So if you're looking for a yarn club that is both good yarn and, good extras, I would definitely recommend the Highland Handmaids because her yarn is just wonderful. So let me show you the progress keeper. It's of a beautiful tree, which makes me happy. So put that there. And this is her silver maple sock, which is again merino bamboo nylon, which I think I gave away, but I think this time I'll keep this one because the colors are just, look at that. It's very wintry, wonderful Christmas, December, winter solstice. It's gonna be a sack. It is, and it's just lovely. And it's called Light Me Up. It's so pretty. I've been saving it for you. It's just, I don't know why, but I love how bamboo takes color. It still has that nice light tint to it, but it's just, hello my gorgeous. I'm trying not to put my lips on there because, hello, red lipstick. And I assure you, that's it for stash therapy. I know. That's it. Now we're on to etc. No podcast love today. But it kind of goes into etc. But if you are not interested at all in regards to my life or my opinions, or you really cannot hear anymore about the elections, it was great seeing you. I'm so glad I could see you after 2 weeks. I missed you guys. And hopefully I will see you soon. Love to you. Bye. For those who are willing, who are willing to stick it to the end, grab your beverage of choice and join the crazy. So, yes, I wanted to talk about the elections, but specifically how us knitting podcasters handled handled the talk about the elections. Now, our community is very diverse in regards to political views, that sort of thing, and that is okay. But what the theme that has been going around that has disappointed me is not willing to, there's a difference between being respectful of someone's opinion and basically not wanting to join the fight. Now, for those who live under a rock or is not really understanding what's going on in the United States in regards to our presidential election, what happened was the electoral colleges, not the electoral colleges, we had Hillary Rodham Clinton running in the Democratic Party, and for the Republican Party we had a man who's never done any sort of politics, who expressed very racist opinions that were backed up by who he supported and who supported him. He also said very misogynistic things that were supported by victims who were strong enough to confront him, including a child who filed charges against him, but because his supporters continued to harass her and threaten her life, dismissed those charges. A man who has shown time and again that he does not respect our government and our politics. There is a reason why we have these checks and balances in place, and he is not educated enough to respect that, including our tax system. We have taxes for a reason, people. It's to pay for infrastructure, that which is roads, schools, everything. We pay taxes for a reason. It's not just to torture the people. It's to, in order to live, we must have these things. And I could go on and on. This man was elected as our president. And what I noticed when I was catching up on my podcast, other than Sadie from Yarnivore, a lot of my other podcasters that I watch, I'm not going to say names, decided to deflect it and try to say, well, peace and love and harmony. And it reminded me so much of one of the essays that I read in Roxane Gay's Bad Feminists, which is a collection of essays that collected from her blog or new that dealt with feminism in regards to 21st century and just kind of putting some feminists up on a pedestal and realizing that they're human and etc. But she touched on a very good point, which is privilege. And Shannon from Soxedera, I'm just going to drop names who I respect and love. Shannon from Soxedera talked a little bit about privilege in her Shouty Shannon in a couple of her episodes. So if you have not watched any Soxedera, please, it's fine, turn me off, please go and check her out. She talked about it in a few episodes ago, or at least a month ago, about privilege and whatnot. And I gotta take a sip, hold on. Just talking about, so Roxane Gay talked about privilege in the sense of you need to check your privilege when it comes to certain issues. And I have to say this, I agree with Sadie that in this podcasting community, it is generally very Caucasian, white, female, That's fine. It's fine. But as someone who's also biracial, or multiracial, it's very hard for me as a biracial woman to hear a class of privilege, a group of privileged women say, oh, we'll be fine, we'll survive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because you live in the land of privilege. Whether, even though you are women, and that's fine, and you're dealing with that same aspect, to be a biracial, non-white culture, as well as being a woman, there's things I fear. Now, I'm going to check my privilege here. As Roxanne Gay says, I'm going to check my privilege here and say, I tend to pass because of my coloring, because of the way my style is. I do tend to pass. But I've had certain cultural microaggressions happen to me that, like, I've been asked many times, where am I from? Because people can't figure out with my coloring where I come from. I also am privileged in the sense that I do come from a culture that was generally colonized. So my mom is from the Philippines. Philippines was a U.S. colony, was a Spanish colony. It has its own set of baggage. So I am privileged in that sense because of the fact that immigrating here, my mom did not have as much of a hard time as other immigrants have gone through. So again, checking that privilege, saying, okay, well, this is what my mom's story of immigration came from, that it will never be the same as when it will not be the same as when another immigrant has come into the U.S. So again, checking that privilege. Now, for me, hearing someone that says, oh, it's okay, it's all right, we'll survive, it's not going to harm me. It's like, well, okay, but what about those other people? How are you going to voice? Safety pins are just great, but how are you going to stop it? How if it doesn't harm you, well then how are you going, you were affected by this election as well, and sad and long tooth and depressed, but there is a way to stop it, and that is by being vocal. Being vocal, using your privilege to then say something. And I was very disappointed that these very popular podcasters, did not then take that stand and say, I am with you guys. Because I am checking my privilege here and saying, I haven't experienced the things that you have, but I will stand by you. I will stop bigotry. I will stop racism. Whether you agree with me or not, I am willing to lose my viewership to say, I am with you and I love you and I will stand by you and guard you from that. And I was very disappointed that I didn't hear that, because when I hear that, it makes sense why Trump won. And I'm saying his name, I know, even though I hate him. I hate him with every fiber of my being, because he embodies everything that I have fought for since I became of cognizant mind of these issues. His election and his mannerism is what scares me. And even though I was born here, every time someone says, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from California. I am from the San Francisco Bay Area. I am from here. I was born here. So don't ever ask me where I was born, because guess what? I'll tell you right now. I was born in Hayward, California in 1984. If you want to know what embodies me and my culture, I am so glad to tell you. I would love to tell you. My mom was born in the Philippines. She immigrated here in 1970s to escape Marcos, who was a dictator, which guess what? We'll get used to that. Get used to the dictatorship if you really want that. And my father is from Ohio. He was born in Ohio from a Russian immigrant. Yes, Russian area immigrant, and a German American mother. And some other stuff. They both moved to California, met each other, fell in love, and produced 2 biracial daughters. One who's darker, one who's lighter. And we both are fine. We're both fine. We were privileged enough to have enough money to do what we need to do. But this is why I do the things that I do, because I was privileged to have that opportunity to be educated, to understand the issues, to go on and say, you know what? My life passion is to help those who did not get the privilege that I did. And maybe that sounds condescending and overbearing, but this is why I do the things that I do. That's why I got a librarian degree, and because I would rather disseminate education rather than block it. And this is the thing that really makes me so disappointed in these podcasters that didn't want to talk about it, that didn't want to talk about their feelings and check their privileges and say it, is because most of the people that voted for Trump, they needed the education. They didn't understand. They didn't understand what was going on. They needed that education to be told, oh, you know. And maybe it's mansplaining, maybe it's not, but it's education. And if they don't want to hear it, their minds are closed anyways, and they didn't want that education. They can turn it off and be done. Just like probably a good amount of you have shut it off and unsubscribed from me. I don't care, because someone has to say something. Now, again, I don't have that privilege. I have 47 viewers. So I don't have the ability to spread this education, but so disappointed that all these more popular podcasters are not talking about it, are not saying something. They have a seat of privilege and ability to educate, and instead they'd rather not. The only brave podcasters that were willing to do it were the Knitmore girls, and that is why I will forever be a listener to them and to Sadie. Everyone else, I could unsubscribe from you and be done. But you have the opportunity, guys. The 1,000 subscribers, the 2,000 subscribers, the 10,000 subscribers, to talk about it. Now, maybe, again, I'm born and raised in California, was born and allowed to have my opinions. Maybe it's not polite to talk about it, but again, check your privilege at the door and see that you are able to live in this society without fear other than men. You don't have to fear being seen as someone who is an enemy. I've been mistaken as Latina, Cuban, Arabian, Arab, excuse me. I have been mistaken for all of the races other than Filipino. I think only Filipino natives know what I look like. In the future, I'm scared. I'm scared. Only because of confusion. But sometimes, sometimes I'm mistaken for white, and that's fine. Well, that's not fine, but you know what I mean. I guess I'm sick because I pass as white, but I'm also vocal, as you can tell. So I'm scared. Because already, because of this, people are not talking about it. Good for you, you have safety pins. But will you be brave enough to see that something is happening and stand between someone who has a gun and someone who's being racially maligned? Or someone who's beating up someone? Or someone who's being attempted to be raped? Will you stand up? Safety pins are fine and dandy, but actions speak louder than a safety pin. I'm going to say it again. Actions speak louder than a safety pin. And the actions I saw, we're going to be back to having segregation. We're going to have a repeat of history if people are not willing to talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it on the highest level, about it's not okay to say those racist things. It's not okay. And educate. It's all about education. It's all about education, people. All about education, says the teacher. But still, it's all about educating people and understanding that there is a reason. Most of what's going on is because of miseducation, of not understanding our political system, not understanding racial issues, not understanding women's issues, not understanding religious issues, not understanding any of it, but what they have been taught. And if it continues to be taught over and over and over, how do you think we get change? How do you think you'll get changed? How? If you don't talk about it. You have to talk about it. You have to. When Black Lives Matter was happening, it's still happening. The movement was starting, and a lot of white supporters said, I want to help. What can I do to help? I'll help you with this. I'll help you with that. I was reading an article by a friend on Facebook that said, use your privilege and start educating and start talking about it. That's what helps. It goes back to the saying of, you're preaching to the choir. I'm probably preaching to the choir right now. It's when you take a stand and say, this is not right. And say, as of someone of privilege, I'm going to say it right here. This is not okay. It gets out more, and it starts the discussion more, stopping it and saying, oh, peace and love. Oh, I'm so glad you're able to have peace and love. I'm over here fighting for my life. Thanks so much. Thanks. My kids, the kids that I teach, saying to them, oh, just don't worry, peace and love, guys. They would say, fuck you. I'm going to lose my family because of this. And the F word is clearly indicated, and I don't care. saying, it's okay, we're gonna be okay, we're in the knitting community, we're okay. In the knitting community, I don't know how many people on the Instagram, yes, I'm saying on the Instagram, was when people were saying, I am so sad by this. I don't know how many people said, oh, make America great again. Trump is amazing. Yay, Trump! And no one said anything. No one started the conversation. No one started a discussion about how supporting this Cheeto Jesus, this Cheeto man, would one not save America. Our America is already great as it is for the fact that of all the culture that we have, and two, is supported by those who want to kill me and have killed. I'm just saying like it is. And my stomach is growling, which means I'm hungry. So this is probably added hangry. But yeah. I am very disappointed that no one other than 2 podcasters that I know of are not willing to use their status, use their privilege to talk about it. Not willing to start the conversation, start the discussion. You have privilege. Use it. Check your privilege at the door when discussing these things, but then use it to help those who don't have that privilege. And with that, I will say, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving week. I hope you spend as much time with your family as I am and enjoy every minute of it. And yeah, I will hopefully see you in a few weeks. And love to you all. Bye. Can't blame them. It's cleaning day. But just when I'm about to record, are they done? Are they done? Are they done?